A year later, I was 13. My mother was marrying her second husband, another abusive alcoholic. I never did like the guy. His level of psychological abuse was so deep that I practically lived like a tunnel rat underneath a 5x5 red table in my room, like a peasant prisoner in a medieval movie. I slept there for over 3 years before finally being kicked out of my house after a drunken rage. My mother was out of town at the time. My elderly grandmother in no position to really do anything. But I don't blame any of them. And I've long since forgiven my abuser. For the slightest infraction, he would force me to chew dehydrated chili peppers until they were rehydrated, seeds and all. He was the dysfunctional product of a Kenyan-born British citizen and raised in a harsh boarding school environment that firmly embraced a form of discipline called caning. Instead of a traditional cane, he made do with the wooden cricket bat that I myself had handmade for him as a gift. This one backfired me, literally, as he broke it over my backside one night. 3 years into this alcoholic dictatorship that I was rather outspoken against, he had me medically admitted to a drug rehab facility for suspicious behavior. I had never even so much tried a joint or drank a beer at that point, not even one. But it didn't really matter. He used our family's health insurance to keep me out of his hair for 30 days. That's where I was awoken one night by a razor blade slicing the bottom of my foot open by a new guest that didn't quite have everything out of his system, so to speak. My first experience with drugs, and not even my own, was definitely not a good one. Say no to drugs. He hit me so hard once that the sole of his shoe left the Adidas logo imprinted in my temple. He even convinced me at one point that I was going to hell because I did not honor him as a father figure, the product of a strict Catholic upbringing. Out of town on business, my mother was unaware and I was truly on my own. He kicked me out into the night. I was 16 and now homeless. I had the entire world, all I had in the entire world were the clothes on my back, a fishing rod, and a rapidly growing sense of despair. As I lay on the bleachers of my high school with a small bag under my neck for a pillow, I remember staring at the distant traffic lights at the intersection. I remember thinking that if God were real, well, maybe he'd get around to helping me sooner or later. But I never once felt sorry for myself. I was a survivor. And at this point, it's really a miracle all on its own that I didn't take myself out of the equation. I survived 2 abusive dads, a sexual predator, possible death by shark frenzy, a mafia hit, a near fatal dog attack, and a kidnapping, all by 16. As my eyes focused on the flashing, glowing red lights blinking intermittently all night long, I felt like I was staring directly into the eyes of Satan himself. It was 1986 in South Florida. I was homeless. What could possibly go wrong?